Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be using up the last of our harvest from last year. Actually it's this year, but you won't see it until next year, 2026. This is the week of Christmas, and I am going to do something with all these sprouting potatoes. I'm actually gonna make scalloped potatoes with these for Christmas dinner. And I'm going to do a garlic parmesan. I had this dip mix in there, and it's just the seasonings and everything in there, and you mix it with like cream cheese and stuff, but I'm not going to do that with it. I'm going to season my potatoes with it, and I have some parmesan in the freezer that I'm going to grate up and put over the top as well, and I'll take you along with me as I do that. And I'm going to do something that you probably shouldn't do unless you really want to, but don't follow me. I'm not even going to show you. I'll show you the end result. I'm going to dry can these potatoes. I had them soaking here overnight. I find if I soak them overnight, the starch doesn't come out. I get as much starch as I can out of them. So there's red, and then I have some gold, and this is all we have for potatoes left from last year's harvest, because we were trying to eat them up because they were doing this. Yeah. They were starting to sprout, which I don't understand why, because last year they lasted quite a long time, like months, in my cold room downstairs. And this year, I mean, well, maybe like 2 months it's been. But last year they lasted way longer than this. So I'm not sure if I didn't dry them enough or what happened, but yeah. So that's what I'm going to be doing with my leftover potatoes. And excuse the lighting, because it's very early in the morning on Christmas Eve, and I'm going to get started with these while everybody's still asleep. So that's why I'm kind of not talking so loud and not doing too much right now to wake everybody up. I like the peace and quiet. So I got my potatoes all canned up in the canner, and while they are processing, I'm going to start on the scalloped potatoes and see how far I get with those before. I think I should be able to get these done before I have to take the jars out of the canner. I'm just going to peel them, slice them up, and get them in the dish, and I'm actually going to bake them tomorrow. Okay, so I finished processing the potatoes, and as much as I tried to pack them down, they still shrunk down quite a bit, but you know what? I'll take it. Yeah, and I got my other potatoes for the scalloped potatoes all cut up here, and I soaked them so it gets some of that starch out. And now I'm going to go ahead and make the roux for the sauce and get these in the pan. And like I said, I'll bake them off tomorrow, because it's Christmas Eve tonight, and I have one other thing to do tonight before I can go to bed. Okay, so I'm just going to make a quick roux for these scalloped potatoes, and I'm going to do it a little bit differently than I normally do. It goes to butter. And I'm actually going to drop in some onions, because I want to sort of caramelize them in the butter before I add in the flour. So I am loving the onions that we grew in the garden this year. They are probably the most I've ever grown, and some of the biggest onions I've ever gotten in, like, ever. And I've been here gardening probably about 8, 9, 10 years, somewhere like that. But this is the best onion harvest we have had. So in goes the onions, and I'm going to add my all-purpose flour. So about equal parts fat, whether it be lard, whether it be butter, whatever it might be, bacon drippings, to flour. And I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not at all measuring it. And I'm going to let that flour cook a little bit before I add my next ingredients. So now that my flour is cooked a little bit, I'm going to add in my packet of dip seasonings. Get all that in there, wake those seasonings up. Okay, so I'm going to add some broth in. Just get that in, get that moving around. And then I'm going to add some milk and then some cheese. Okay, so I switched over to a whisk because there, in that seasoning packet, there was a clump of probably salt and garlic, parmesan, and I wanted to make sure it was broken up. So a whisk is helping me to do this. I'm going to put a dash of milk in here now. Actually, probably more than a dash. Yeah, that's definitely more than a dash. Get that all mixed in. And I want it kind of on the thick side, but enough that it will go down in between each of the layers of potato. And I wanted to taste this before I put any salt in it, and I'm glad I did, because that packet was salty enough. So I have some Colby Jack here, and then in my freezer I found some more Parmesan, and I'm going to grate that up, and we're going to put that in there as well. Get that mixed in. And it's already nicely thick. I might have to thin it out a little bit, actually. We'll see when the cheese melts. Okay, so I grated in some of that Parmesan, and I'll save some to grate over the top as well. And as soon as these pieces melt down, that cheese melts down in here, it is ready to go. So I'm going to get my potatoes layered in. Okay, so before I layer in my potatoes, I put some seasonings in it, and I'm just going to toss them. Make sure they get kind of coated in these seasonings. And I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to them as well. Just a little drizzle of olive oil before I layer them into the baking dish. Get that all tossed together. So I have my dish here, and I'm just buttering the bottom, the sides, everywhere. Just a butter wrapper that I had in the freezer. Have a little bit of butter left on it, and I'm just gonna butter everywhere. Okay, so I decided to go a little bit fancy and stand them up instead of just laying them down like I usually do. And I had just enough. If I didn't have enough, I had a backup. I actually had some dehydrated, I guess, potato rounds or scallop potatoes dehydrated that I did last year from some potatoes. And if I didn't have enough, I was going to rehydrate some of those and stick them in here. But I think it looks good. It's kind of tight. So all I'm going to do is pour over the roux that I made. And I'm going to cover this, and it's going to get baked off tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of extra Parmesan over the top. And I'm going to let this cool because the sauce is quite warm before I put it in the fridge. And then I'll bake it off tomorrow. And if I remember, I'll show you what it looks like. Or I try to get a shot before we start cutting into it. So that's my garlic Parmesan scallop potatoes. We'll flour it up. And here it is all baked off. Sorry about the lighting again. It is very stormy outside right now, and I have the lights on, but it doesn't look like it. So yeah, this is it. My scallop potatoes baked and ready to go with us. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless, and remember, stay safe and keep prepping.